Okay, I want you to picture this. It is exactly 11:10 a.m. The doors of a heavily delayed train hiss open at Chiayi Station in Taiwan. Outside, absolute torrential rain pouring down. Our commuter, a guy named Dong, steps out onto the platform. He's lugging these heavy bags, he's wearing slippers, and he's breathing hard. He whips his head toward the bus terminal. But man, it's too late. The absolute final bus up the mountain to his workplace has just pulled away. That candle of hope totally snuffed out. He is literally completely stranded.
So, what would you do in that situation? Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to hit rewind. We're going back to 9 a.m. to see exactly how this seemingly mundane morning commute completely unraveled into a high-stakes logistical thriller. Because as you'll see, what happens next isn't just some wild travel story. It is a masterclass in agile problem-solving, controlling risk, and just sheer stubborn determination. Let's dive in.
Section 1. The Rain-Disrupted Plan.
Right, so to really understand the stakes here, we first need to look at Dong's job. He works way up in the mountains of Alishan, which means he actually has to commute a full day early. Now, normally, he'd just casually hop on the 2:10 p.m. bus. But those severe rainstorms we mentioned, they completely slashed the mountain bus schedule. That dragged his final possible departure time all the way up to a rigid 11:10 a.m. deadline. His initial plan? Pretty simple. Take the 9:09 a.m. Chukwang Express train, which would have him arriving with a very comfortable hour to spare.
Section 2. Decisions at Tainan Station.
So at 9 a.m., Dong steps out of his rental apartment into the pouring rain. But when he gets inside the station, he's greeted by blank digital marquees. Not a good sign, right? The staff deliver the bad news. Due to flooded tracks, all train arrivals at the rear station are delayed indefinitely. But Dong, he doesn't panic. The marquees finally flicker and show a glimmer of hope. There's a faster train at the front station departing in an hour. Thinking he has plenty of time, he even stops to buy a roasted sweet potato. But man, the irony hits hard. He casually walks over to the front station to buy his ticket, looks up at the board, and faces a brutal reality. That fast train? Yeah, it's completely canceled.
Stripped of his backup plan, Dong has to look at his absolute final option, a local train scheduled for 9:47 a.m. But wait, it's operating on a 26-minute delay. Doing the mental math in his head, he realizes this train will drop him in Chiayi mere seconds before his 11:10 a.m. bus departs. It is a massive, massive gamble. But hey, it's his only play, so he boards the train.
Section 3. The 11:10 a.m. deadline.
While he's on the train, he's physically preparing to sprint. He's actually saving that sweet potato to keep his stomach empty so he can have maximum explosive energy when the doors open. But then, the train inexplicably slows to an agonizing crawl. By the time the doors finally open at Chiayi Station, it is exactly 11:10 a.m. He doesn't even bother running. The risk of slipping in wet sandals while carrying heavy bags, just not worth it when the math is already set in stone. As he put it, the candle of hope in his heart was blown out. The bus was simply gone.
So there he is, standing in Chiayi, and Dong runs through a rapid-fire decision matrix. Does he just give up and go home? Rent a hotel room and burn some paid leave? Or does he swallow a painful 3,000 NTD for a private car? This is where evaluating risk under extreme pressure really kicks in. He quickly rules out the hotel, and he definitely rules out the massive sunk cost of that wildly expensive private car. Instead, he chooses the absolute boldest option on the board.
Section 4. The Great Taxi Chase.
Dong power walks straight out of the station, directly to the taxi stand, and basically jumps into the very first cab he sees. He whips out his phone, pulls up the official transit app, and locates the departed bus's live GPS signal. He tells the taxi driver to step on it and head straight toward Dingliu Elementary School. The driver looks at him in utter disbelief, like, "You're rushing to Dingliu?" But hey, he hits the gas anyway.
Now this right here is where Dong's agile problem-solving truly shines. They're speeding down the road and they actually manage to catch up to the bus. But Dong realizes a fatal strategic flaw. Think about it. If he jumps out right next to the bus, unloading his heavy 5-kilo bag and fumbling to pay the driver is going to take way too long. The bus would just blow right past them. So he executes a rapid pivot. He ignores the official transit app, pulls up Google Maps Street View, and manages to find a tiny, completely unlisted bus stop further up the highway at Wufeng Temple.
He spots it on the map, calls it out to the driver, and they pull over. The taxi meter reads exactly 340 NTD. And get this, luckily, Dong already has the exact change ready in his hand. He hands it over, tells the driver to keep the change, and gets out. This is all about controlling the variables you actually can control when everything else is going wrong,
literally eliminating any wasted seconds. So he grabs his bags, slams the taxi door shut, steps onto the wet pavement, and whips his head around to look down the road. The tension here is unreal. Did his buffer time actually work? Like, did he outrun the bus enough to flag it down? Yes, less than 100 meters behind him, that giant bus is rolling down the street. It's the perfect, safe distance for the bus driver to spot him frantically waving his arms and safely pull over. Dong later described stepping onto that bus as feeling like hitting a perfect, buzzer-beating layup in basketball. He just wanted to pump his fist and scream, yes. Against all odds, he had successfully hacked his commute.
Section 5. Boarding and Beyond.
Now you might think just getting a seat was the ultimate victory, right? But the danger actually wasn't over. Heavy rains frequently trigger massive landslides on the Alishan highway. And if a rockfall blocks the road, the transit authority doesn't just sit there and wait it out. No, the buses drive up to a halfway rest stop called Chijura, dump the passengers, and turn around. So Dong could still end up completely stranded halfway up the mountain anyway.
Because of this lingering threat, his communication with his boss was honestly a masterclass in managing expectations in a professional setting. He didn't prematurely declare victory. Instead, he sent a very conservative text, "I am on the bus." And he absolutely refused to send another update until they safely navigated past Shizuo's infamous rockfall zones. Only then, when the coast was truly clear, did he send the final update, "I have safely passed Shizuo."
As we wrap up this explainer, Dong's journey is just such a great testament to sheer resilience and strategic thinking on the fly. I mean, from delayed trains to app hacks and a literal high-speed taxi chase, he proved that sometimes you really do have to aggressively manufacture your own luck. So it leaves you wondering, when the storm clouds gather and your own perfectly laid plans completely fall apart, do you just accept defeat? Or do you start hunting for your own hidden bus stop? Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one.